Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication.
What? Mercy TV, another episode.
Hello, welcome to Mercy TV COVID episode. Gosh, we forget. It's been a year plus now. We've been doing our COVID shows, and we do encourage folks to maintain their discipline because we have so many folks who have
Thank you.
Suffered consequences for it, and we have the Delta variant coming on. So let's not be lax in our maintaining the protocol for minimizing the harm from things like this.
Be
Greetings.
smart.
I'm Perry Normal, along with producer PK and Perk, Sonny the Perk, which is PR, short for PRC, and Patient Resource Coordinator. And we want to start off by saying hello to the folks in hospitals who may be watching the show, or if you're caught it on your YouTube, you can get your YouTube in there to the hospital for the folks. That's something we should try to do.
Man, yeah, that's a very good idea.
But you don't have to smoke the cannabis to get the benefits from it. Edibles in different ways. I have a healing oil that I use for my carpal tunnel and other pains that me and other people that I've known. This is a medicine that you could use without smoking. But smoking is a little more, it's tenuous than eating it. But eating it is going from your digestion system to all your vital organs and your brain and your heart. So be wise, my friends. Cannabis is not evil.
Well, the way each patient's body metabolizes the cannabis, because whatever the condition that the patient has and the way their body metabolizes, because it is a neurological, the cannabis uses it.
Affects the neurology, yes.
And that's the way it helps.
And you know what, is it really affecting the neurology so much as, we know that it can help with neurological conditions like neuropathic pain, like spasticity, and with seizures and all. There's a good example, because the cannabis doesn't cure it, but it helps with the symptoms and after effects leading up to it and in post facto.
Well, it's helped me, and my doctors have talked, I've talked with my doctors, and, all along, and with all of my psoriasis and the arthritis, and there's so much.
So the healing oil is helping him, and other things are helping him with the psoriasis, but it's gone. He had nasty scabs and that. So it's very easy to make. You have a container that you can seal. You have as much cannabis that you could have, leaf if you have it, or even the flower. But you would soak it in, we're going to soak it in water and use it, or make a medicine for your eyes.
The cannabis is good for the patient depending on their condition and how they use it, you know, whether they're eating it, whether they're using it topically, or whether they're smoking it because they might need to get instant,
Right.
you know.
And I think it's important to point out that all these different modes in consuming the cannabis, all the things that cannabis helps you with, that it's important to note that cannabis, while it may not cure things, does not harm people. It's not create any permanent damage, certainly not brain damage, or it doesn't cause cancer, any other reefer madness lies that have been told throughout the decades. Gosh, we've almost been at this, 100 years now with the silly ass pot war. And, that's what the whole war is based on, is the potential harm from cannabis, and how, like in any war, the first casualty was truth. And so that's why we've got this spending taxpayer dollars to lie about it and suppress any truth about it. So, if nothing else, register and vote and end the pot war so you can quit having your tax dollars wasted on lying and covering up lies and covering up to cover up, and
Pardon me.
all the harm that you get from the lack of good information, the truth about cannabis.
So, as medical cannabis card holders, please, we have to renew our license every year. Please renew it. Hopefully you won't be overpriced, because I know the patient shouldn't be paying that much to have an outside grower.
Well, and cannabis is good for sports people that, we don't talk about it too much, because a lot of, whether it's professional sports people or people in college, sports people.
Or in the Olympics, although there we're talking about a different policy. Professional athletes should be able to utilize cannabis for pretty much any reason, but certainly for medical applications.
Well, like this year, how they were, having to keep, so everybody had to short, weren't able to work out, and they weren't able to have a lot of, their routines were changed.
Right.
So they weren't able to do the workouts like they were used to being able to do the workouts, I do different kinds of sports, whether it's football, baseball, I don't care, tennis, what do you want to play? Some handball, some racquetball, these are the things people don't realize. Cannabis is good for our bodies,
Well, and so all the things that you encounter in sports, all the injuries, all the wear and tear on the body, all the need for good sleep, good digestion, good nutrition, and your mental facilities too. So when they're taking things that, while it gives them some benefit, has a side effect that's detrimental. These are the same things that regular folks face when they're have to take pain medications or other things.
Well, you realize that when you're using cannabis, your pain is not so much.
Right.
It's relieved, because it relieves the muscles.
Relieves the muscles, relieves the joints, and also, again, the neurological things that are happening as well, with your nerve, when you get like a bump on on your funny bone, these nervy kind of actions and accidents and things, as well as the strains, muscles, tendons, joints, and those can be treated, while taking, cannabis internally, even smoking it, gets a kind of a whole body coverage. you can also apply it topically. So, you know, these athletes wouldn't have to smoke it if they were allowed to apply it, you know, topically, for example.
Your body is able to build up different immunities. You know, your tendons last and get stronger, and your muscles build up and get strengthened. And you know, these are the things that athletes find out immediately. Man, I'm stronger, you know? And when you're an athlete, you find out, man, I sure feel better, you know, because we do these routines and our strength is better. And oh yeah, when you do certain things, whether you're playing baseball, whether you're playing football, whether you're playing basketball, and I'm doing better, wow. And all I've changed is
Because you're exercising your lungs when you're smoking it, or to my belief.
well, and some people don't smoke, or some people smoke a little bit,
Right.
or some people just eat it, or some people just rub it on, you know, like with my psoriasis, you know, I was rubbing a lot, but I was drinking some too. And you know, when you're drinking it and rubbing it on and smoking a little bit, you know, what is good for you? You know, most people find out, you know, during these, you find out, you know, you got to find out when you're the patient, and you find out, you know, depending on the condition, you know, you find out, because your condition will dictate the cannabis use. You know, what is the use? Well, the condition will dictate that.
Right.
You know, because back to metabolizing, your body will metabolize that kind of condition, but then you kind of find out, wow, you know, the strains of cannabis are really good. You know, there are different strains, and those strains kind of do real good for you too.
Yeah, and so the cannabis community is recognizing, and as we get more knowledge, we shared out, you know, mostly through the internet and through other means, people organizing, publishing, having meetings where they're sharing these things, but mostly it's a grapevine where people are able to say that, hey, this strain, particularly if you can do things, different things in the grow process or in the processing of it to get the most out of it for the condition, the modality, you know, all the factors that the cannabis is being applied. And people can both maximize the THC and euphoric effects and minimize them, you know. Like, for example, right now in Israel, there's a particular strain which is they've been developing, the Israeli government, or entities with Israel government grants, I should say, really. Strains that are very, very, very low in THC, but very high in all the cannabinoids and cannabinols. And you know, as we end the war, we'll be able to have more of this information out, that there are this breeding, there is this strain that people are recognizing that we can, of course they've already done that by going to the hemp plant, which is very, very low in THC, but still has a lot of CBDs and CBNs, CBGs, other cannabinols and cannabinoids. And so that's the source of this CBD only medicines that you see that are now storming the market, if you will. And we can only hope that this will lead to the end of cannabis prohibition so that everybody can make their own medicine.
Excuse me,
at
Perry.
home. Yeah.
No, if the people were using hemp to make concrete, to fiberboard, or other items, the world would be, a lot more trees would be still growing. And with the size of a hemp field, produce so much oxygen as well.
Well, this is a medical show, and we are just giving medical education, but there's a lot more we could do with cannabis.
Well,
And hemp.
and yeah, so in that vein, we talk about hemp because it is a healthier food source, and unfortunately or not, the industrial hemp issue is tied very closely with the medical cannabis and prohibition in general, unfortunately. So,
Well, and that's the education side of the plant that we're talking. And you know, our bodies and the plant and how we work it and why we need to make sure people are voting.
you know,
and-
especially with the crossover now that, like I said, the people are finding out that industrial hemp has medical properties, especially when you distill it down, you know, and turn it into oil. That this oil not only has properties that allow it for industrial use as a lubricant and other aspects, but as a fuel even, but also to be taken internally by folks and be applied as a medicine. You know, that's wow.
Well, and when people let others dictate what and how and where they vote and where their vote goes
Right.
and how they get educated, well, don't let others educate you and educate you wrong.
Right.
You know, what we know is this plant is good for us, and you know, we're trying to make sure on this show that, you know, medically this plant is good. You know, there's so
It's
much,
an alternative medicine.
you know, and it's good. And
And if you've seen anything about the cannabis on your television, you wouldn't see the side effects that you would see on the pharmaceuticals that they're selling you on the commercials. May cause whatever it may happen.
Yeah, all that stuff that they say real fast. It's also in very fine print at the bottom of the screen. They say it real fast at the end of the commercial. And that's like all the things that cannabis helps with.
well, and we want to make sure you talk to your doctor.
That's funny.
Yep.
And share the fact is you're using medicine, and your doctor, when he does his blood tests and when he uses all the things that he uses for your condition, well, because when, like, I've went to so many doctors with patients, and they use the medicine so good. You know, it's such a good alternate with the medicines that they use.
It's a great medicine. It's a safe medicine. It's an effective medicine, and people should have access to it. And to do so, they should first have access to good information. And at the least, we shouldn't be paying tax dollars, our tax dollars, to keep lying about it and to cover up the lying and other nonsense along those lines. So the only way that's going to happen, as we've said many times on the show, is if you register and vote and make sure everybody you know is registered and voting. And these days we've got a lot more effort in the GoTV, because not only do you need to register, but you need to follow up and make sure you or your friends or family aren't cleared off the voting rolls, because they're doing a lot of purging these days. Guess which party? And otherwise trying to, they're doing gerrymandering of districts. They're outlawing people going around and gathering up ballots and just doing a service, helping folks. The only people now in some states that can pick up ballots and deliver them is their direct relative. You know, they've even got ridiculous things about people handing out water to folks in the line, like that's buying a vote or some nonsense there. You know, they try in some places they're it's just ridiculous the laws they're putting in to restrict voting and so forth. It's
Well, we're fortunate in Oregon that it's a mail-in ballot, which I think
Right.
is an excellent idea.
and
And
felons can vote.
yes,
And we want to make sure that you know that the education on the medicine is so good, and that others in your neighborhood know, and that all of the plant is a good plant. And if you have any questions, you can send Perry an email, and you can give us a call. We're getting our phone lines together. We've had so much problems with them here lately.
Yeah.
But we're getting them together. And if you got any questions, send an email.
Right. Post on one of the bulletin boards that we have tried to maintain a bulletin board on each page so folks can comment on it, add information to what's there, correct something if we've posted something that's incorrect or changed over time. Help us out. This is a resource for you, the people, to add to and maintain. So get involved. That's mercycenters.org. Check it out, please. From there you can find your way to our YouTube channel, where we have not only episodes of Mercy TV, but PK's My Garden, where you can see not only a great many grow tips, tricks, and other information, but how to make oil, the PK's holy oil there.
and even a brand new eye medicine.
Well, the main thing is, it's back to the education that it's good, and it's good for you, and it's the different kinds of conditions that you have, and the things that people. There's so much of this going on all over, with people need to know that it's good for you. Don't let others tell you what's good and not good. We know that. CCTV gave us this information to let us go in, Perry, a long time ago. Alan we lost Alan. We
Yeah,
Moved
he
on.
yes,
in work.
He didn't pass on.
Yeah.
He moved on.
right. And we're thankful for our blessings.
Yep.
That we have this channel, this means to get the information out to help people
And we're so
And,
thankful for these blessings.
And
put the feedback out. On
people
them,
in
too.
the hospital, please talk to your doctor, talk to the nurses and that, and talk to your children about edibles. It may help you get out sooner if you enjoy a little bit of cannabis and see the remarkable results that happens. And there might be no results, but you had to at least introduced it to
Right.
your body.
But it won't kill you. You won't get addicted to it. It's not going to grow. You're not going to grow a second head or a third tit or anything like that.
Well, it's back
I
to
mean-
how long it takes.
Oh.
It's back to how your body metabolizes. It's back to the strains. It's not sometimes that it just happens like that. It takes a while. It's back to a system that it takes a while for your body to work with the medicine.
Right. So when folks are trying out medibles especially for the first time, it's best to give yourself to take a very, very small dosages of it, and to wait a good time before taking a second dose, for saying that, hey, I'm not feeling anything.
Well, it's back to you need to eat stuff with the other stuff that you like. Because, I've had a lot of people say, well, I didn't like that. It didn't taste good. Well, you need to eat it with other stuff.
Disguise the taste of
Right.
But
So-
if you could take the chlorophyll out of the flower or leaf, you would make it a little bit easier.
One, you don't want to kill back to the cannabinoids and the other things that are in the plant. You know, you don't want to kill things that are so good and natural in the plant that is going to do so good in your body. You know, that's what's good. That's what's natural. You know, these are the things that do us so good and that metabolize in our body and back to the natural that's good for us, natural, you know, good
Okay.
for us. You know,
Well, we have a couple of minutes left. We do want to say thanks again to our teammates at CCTV, Salem, Oregon. Visit our website, mercycenters.org, for more information on CCTV and how you can utilize their resources to get your message out. Be sure to stay tuned. If you're watching us here on channel 32 or 23, be sure to stay tuned for episodes of PK's My Garden or whatever else producer PK may be cranking out and putting up on there for your viewing pleasure. And again, be sure to check out our YouTube channel for past episodes of all the aforementioned shows. Sonny, thanks for being here.
well, and I'm so thankful for CCTV and all the people that work down there and do so much every day. You know, we have so many blessings, and I have blessings with you guys and our families and our doctors. And remember, talk to the doctors and tell them, you know, how much you're using, and maybe they can give you suggestions. You know, this is what we all work together. You know, that's what we do. You know, we have such a team, and our team, if you want to be better, you know, that's how we do it.
So, my friends in the hospital, please talk to your doctors and nurses and your children, and cannabis can be used without smoking, and it can cure, in my opinion, what's ailing you. Please, with the love of Dr. LeBeck, Scott, Mike, Shauna, Alicia, George, Grandma Janet, we all love you. And if you're having fun, I hope you're flying a kite on a beautiful day. Enjoy life, and we send our love to you.
Be safe.
Thanks for watching Mercy TV. We'll see you again next time. And bring a friend or an enemy. What the heck? What have you got to lose?
Be safe. Send Perry an email if you need some help or you got questions.
Right on. mercycenters.org. Tune in next week. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Blessed healing oil.
This is Perry Normal, Sonny the Perk, and producer PK signing off.
You want to say anything before I turn it off, Glenn?
Yes, good night.
Good night. God bless you all, every single one of you.